What is up, Waffle Gang? I do hope you are well. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some more AmITheButtHole. And if you love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And if you're feeling extra cheeky today, don't forget to click that like button, and let's dive straight into today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from Am I the Arsehole Sold Heirloom. Am I the arsehole for donating my engagement ring, which is a family heirloom, to an auction fundraiser and telling my ex to bid if he wants it back? Whew, spicy. My friend is raising money to build an orphanage in his home country. He's going to host an auction fundraiser and asked our friends if they have anything they could donate. I had an engagement ring that is very beautiful but holds painful memories for me. My ex and I broke up 3 years ago. I've contacted him multiple times in the past, asking him to either take it, to give me his new address so I could send it to him, or to agree to me selling it. He hasn't responded to any of these requests, so after 3 years I finally decided to get rid of it by donating it to the fundraiser. I sent my ex one final warning that I was going to get rid of the ring, which he ignored, so I gave it to my friend. I even sent my ex a confirmation text to let him know I no longer had the ring. This was a few weeks ago and he never responded. On Saturday, he showed up to my home looking furious. I was shocked to see him and I kept asking him who gave him my address. I guess this annoyed him more because he told me that was a stupid question and demanded I give him the ring. I explained that I no longer had the ring and I had given him plenty of opportunities over the last 3 years to collect it. He told me to get it back and I told him I couldn't. He asked me if I had any idea how much that ring was worth and reminded me it was his grandmother's. I told him if the ring was so important to him, then he should have responded to my messages or came to collect it, since he obviously knew where I lived. He told me he gave it to me because it was so important, but if he had known that I'd be so spiteful to give it away, he would have come back for it. We kept arguing and he told me I would regret it if I didn't get my ring back to him by the end of the week. I told him if he wanted it so badly, he should bid on it because it was too late. He eventually left after telling me I had a week to get the ring back, or else. Obviously, he thinks I'm an arsehole, and after speaking to my sister, he might be right. But I gave him plenty of opportunities to take the ring back, and if it was that important to him, he would have. He also can 100% afford to bid and win it back, so I don't feel as bad about refusing to ask for it back, since his money will go to a worthy cause. Am I the arsehole? Now, I'm coming in instantly with a not the arsehole in this situation. The title had me questioning at first, but as with a lot of Am I the Arsehole posts, they change with a bit more information. And this one, you held onto the ring for 3 years. How long did he want you to hold onto that ring for? You gave him multiple chances to come and collect it and he refused to do so. And you're not a storage facility, so absolutely get rid of that ring. You give him plenty of notice. You have every right to do so, in my opinion. However, he did have me worried when he's coming in with a threat, or else. I'm not sure what you can do with that. Can you tell the police about that? Can you make some sort of report about that just in case? Because saying something like that does sound a bit shady. But Deledit says you gave him 3 years and he responded immediately after you said it was gone. Meaning he was reading the messages and just deciding not to respond. Lol, no, you're not the arsehole. If he cared, he would have gotten it immediately. And Miss Mozzarella says this man had 1,000 days to get the ring back. Not the arsehole. Brandy R says not the arsehole. He dropped the ball and now he's panicking. Not your circus, not your problem. Also, why is he threatening you? If you're worried, I'd report that to the authorities. I've had clients charged with uttering threats for much less. Coco Butts Go Nuts says not the arsehole. How much longer were you supposed to hold on to the ring? Another 3 years, 5 years, 10? You told him exactly what was going to happen, and well, now he gets to live with the consequences. Also, notify the police of his threats. BC1411 says, okay, not the arsehole, but also for fuck's sake, find out who gave him your address. That's not on. OP replies saying, I did find out. I have a friend who is married to his friend. He gave it to him. And one more from Kooky Lake who says, info. Why wasn't the ring returned to him when your engagement broke off 3 years ago? To which OP replied to that saying, we broke up over the phone and I never saw him again. He was abroad at the time. When it first happened, I tossed the ring in a drawer and never thought about it again until he mailed my stuff back to me a few months later with a note to tell me he was moving. I tried to return it after, but he wouldn't respond. Now, what do you guys make of this one? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below and we'll move on to the next story. And our next story comes from a throwaway account titled, "Am I the arsehole for blowing up at my, now ex-boyfriend after he harassed and outed my brother at the dinner table? I, 20 female, and my younger brother, 16 male, have always been extremely close our entire lives. Even after I moved out recently to attend university, we've always had opposite styles, and he's the sun to my moon. My brother and I always enjoy matching our clothes. He always loved wearing flashy clothes, and I've always lent him some of mine on many occasions, since he likes to present more femininely. My parents have never had a problem with this, as they've always encouraged us to be the best version of ourselves we can be, no matter what. They've always loved and accepted us. I decided to invite my boyfriend, 22 male, to a family dinner. He comes from a conservative background, not at all like us. I asked my parents and brother if it was okay to invite him, and they all agreed, and they had been wanting to meet him. When it came to the dinner, my boyfriend instantly gave my brother a weird look when saying hey, since he was dressed in some of my old clothes I had given him, but was cordial to my parents. We began dinner shortly after, and that's when things got bad. Things were fine for about the first 20 minutes, and he was getting along great with my parents, while him and my brother did some light-hearted banter back and forth. But then my boyfriend asked my brother, "Why'd you dress like that?" My brother asked what he meant, and he said, "Like a girl." My brother is used to this, and just shrugged and said it's what he liked. He scoffed and asked if he thinks he's a girl or something. He raised an eyebrow and said that's just how he likes to dress. My brother can hold his own. He's sweet but doesn't let anyone push him around, and I was going to talk to boyfriend after dinner to let him know not to do that. However, I know my brother is much more sensitive than he lets on, so I glanced at him to silently ask if he was okay. He nodded slightly, returning to his food. Boyfriend decided to remark on how he was cutting his food and asked, "Why is the pansy acting so gay?" My brother, visibly pale, stuttered out a what, and my mother glared at him and said that language is not acceptable in this house. I agreed and was getting visibly bothered since I am very protective of my brother. He then started mocking him, called him a slur, and asked him if he had a boyfriend. He stood up, visibly on the verge of tears, and said that yes, he does, and he's not going to let someone he doesn't even know make him feel horrible for being who he is. After that, he took off crying. My dad asked him to leave. I did too. Here's where I'm thinking I might be the arsehole. I stood up and yelled at him to get the fuck out of our house, that I was ashamed I was ever seen with someone so vile. I stomped over to the door to the kitchen, pointed and said, "Back door is that way, see yourself out." He called me a B and said that I had no right to disrespect him for pointing out the obvious, and I repeated that he better leave right now and that I never wanted to see him again. Am I the arsehole for losing my cool on my ex-boyfriend? Now this one's definitely going to be a not the arsehole, but I thought I'd read it anyway. Someone comes into your house, disrespects you, your family, everyone at the dinner table. Of course, you're not going to be the arsehole for chucking that person out. Anyone in their right mind would chuck that person out of their house. But well done up for you for sticking up for your brother. But I do question, when we get to stories like this, it always goes through my mind. Who would go into someone's house like that, boyfriend in this situation, and actively attack another family member like that? I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because I'm damn sure it does, but it just always blows me away when we read stories like that. It's nice to see a family sticking together through these things. But let's check out a couple of comments, but we know what they're going to be, so we'll only cover a couple here, and then we move on to the next story. Medusa says a huge resounding no. Good for you. Best sister, not the arsehole. Lunatic2 says not the arsehole. So not the arsehole. Thank you and your family for standing up for your brother and not tolerating vile bigotry and homophobia. The only arsehole here is your ex for not respecting you in your own home and thinking that there wouldn't be any consequences for his disgusting behaviour. Remy says definitely not the arsehole. Your ex-boyfriend on the other hand, biggest arse in the world. Cut him out your life. You and your brother deserve a lot better. And the comments just continue along that path. So what are your thoughts on this one? And we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Am I the Arsehole Roommate's Sister. Am I the arsehole for asking my roommate to stop having her sister over so often? I, 19 female, rent a 4-bedroom house with 3 other girls. Alexa, 26 female, Taylor, 23 female, and Lauren, 18 female. Alexa has a little sister, Anna, 9. Anna's mum drops her off to stay with Alexa at least 2 nights a week. Alexa's room is in the basement and she basically has a separate apartment, so we don't see her or Anna much when she visits. I will admit that Alexa pays more rent for the basement apartment and pays extra utilities because the kid is here so often and she doesn't have us babysit, except for Lauren, but Lauren likes kids and gets paid. The problem is, I didn't sign up to live with a kid. If I would have known there was a kid here all the time, I wouldn't have chosen to live here. I talked to Alexa yesterday and asked her not to have her sister over so often because none of us signed up to live with a 9-year-old. She said Anna is very well behaved and that she keeps Anna in her space so we don't have to be around her. I told her I know she keeps Anna away from us, but I still don't want to live with a kid. She asked me to drop this and said that Anna's dad, they have different dads, is out of the picture and their mum is neglectful. I said I feel bad for her, but that's still not my problem. She and Lauren are mad at me and Taylor said I'm the only one that has a problem with a kid being here. Am I the arsehole for asking my roommate to not have her sister over so often? Edit, Anna is almost never here, only 2 days a week. I said at least 2 days, meaning she's never here less than 2 days a week. She's usually here between 3 to 4 days during the school year, and she can be here weeks at a time during the summer. Also, to those of you saying I'm expecting Alexa to parent me, Lauren is 100 times worse than me. Alexa makes dinner for everyone most nights. She also makes Lauren's breakfast and packs her lunch. She also drives Lauren to school and works with her on her homework most nights. She also lets Lauren complain to her about me and occasionally Taylor and has her talk to us for her if something's bothering her because she's too scared to do it herself. I don't quite know what you're complaining about in this story. Nothing that you said in there is really saying what the kid is doing wrong. I mean, if the kid come in the house and was running around your space in the kitchen, screaming and causing chaos all the time, every single day of the week, I absolutely understand why you would be pissed off at this situation. Even if the kid was just in your space for like 5 days or 3 days or whatever period of time, I could understand the frustration. But what you said in this is that, Alexa and Anna are staying down in basically a separate apartment, a separate place, where you don't see them most of the time. It's causing no hassle, no nothing. So the only thing that you're angry about is that there's a child in the apartment, but not in your space at all. So I think it would make you the arsehole. I can't see why it wouldn't. The child is not affecting you in any way, so why are you so angry about it? I don't understand. So I'm going to say you're the arsehole for this one. But 409 says, so let's tally this up. Alexa basically has a separate apartment. Alexa pays more rent than you. Alexa pays extra utilities to make up for the kid being there. You don't see either of them much when she's there. You aren't asked to babysit. The alternative is making the kid stay with abusive parents. You want a 9-year-old kid to spend more time in an abusive household, despite the fact that A, the kid is very well mannered and you barely even see her, and B, your roommate paid some of your share of the utility bill to compensate you. And on top of that, the kid hasn't even done anything to you. If your roommate offered to pay extra utilities to let her SO stay the night a few times a week, there wouldn't be a problem. Yes, you're the arsehole. 1,000,000 times, you're the arsehole. Edit. Jesus tap dancing Christ, it gets worse. And then points to a comment that basically says the roommate cooks for everyone, tutors OP for free, and even lets OP borrow a car when the kid isn't around. OP, your problem isn't children in the house. Your problem is children other than you in the house. Miss Baseball 34 says you're the arsehole. She pays extra rent. She keeps her away from you. How is this really impacting you? Other than knowing there is a kid in the house, just find another place to live. Mysterious T7218 says you're the arsehole. You haven't listed a single thing the kid is doing wrong. You're just angry that the kid exists in the house apparently. Do everyone a favor and move out ASAP. Rock Dancer says you're the arsehole. 2 nights a week isn't very much. Wait until one of your roommates has a boyfriend. It sounds like everyone is respectful of shared space. The kid stays in the basement and doesn't cause you problems. Have some respect for your roommate's guest, unless you had a signed agreement about guest policies. It sounds like Alexa is well within her rights as a tenant. You can always move out. Vault Hunter 93 says, it's got to be a Destiny player, you're the arsehole, you have no right to ask that of her, especially when she pays the lion's share of the rent and utilities. Don't like it, move out, sorted. Or is it maybe a Fallout player? Enchanted 21 says, you're the arsehole. She isn't even around you and you're not paying for her, nor are you being directly bothered by her. It is hard to live with people. My advice is when the lease is up, find a solo place to live. Edit. Dang, just saw some OP's comments about how Alexa cooks for everyone, lets OP use her car, and gives free tutoring but not if Anna is there. I think we just found the actual problem. You're upset because your mooching is getting interrupted. Hope you realize Alexa has less than zero obligations to cook for you, or to tutor for you, or to let her use her car. Please read back your post and comments. I have a hard time believing you can be that selfish because I don't want to give up hope in humanity. And one more cheeky one from Beltright1234 who says, "You're the arsehole. She pays more, keeps her out of the way so people don't have to deal with the kid, and 2 nights a week is not all the time. You also phrased it like everyone else has an issue with Anna. None of us signed up to live with a 9-year-old when you're the only one with an issue." Now, what do you guys make of this one? I don't even think the edits helped from OP here, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below and we'll move on to the next story. Now, our next story follows with a tiny little update from Throwaway Dang Lovesick who says, "Am I the arsehole for refusing to drop charges against a 16-year-old? My brother, 17 male, lives with me, 25 female, and my husband, 26 male, full since both our parents passed away in an accident last February. He's a great kid, but losing our parents made him a quiet, sad young boy. I've tried to encourage him to attend therapy so he can work on his grief, but he has refused every single time, telling me he's not ready yet. I get it. Everyone works at their own pace, and as long as he's not deliberately hurting himself, I won't pressure him. I try to be as involved in his life as I can be without it being overwhelming. We both enjoy movie nights or binge watching shows on the weekends, and he also helps my husband with his old car. Before our parents' passing, my brother had a girlfriend, 16. She seemed like a good kid too, but after the funeral, my brother decided that being in a relationship wasn't what he needed at the time and broke up with her. Totally valid, but she didn't take it good and was sure that my brother only needed some love to heal. Last month she began to drop letters and gifts to our door, and my brother refused to open them every single time. She used to message and call him too, and I could see the distress on my brother's face. The worst thing happened last Friday. It was my brother's birthday and my husband and I decided to take him out. When we got back, he went to his room, and as soon as he did it, he came down running. Now, his ex found her own way into my house, arranged his room with photos of him with her, their friends and our family, put some balloons and was waiting for him with a cake. Mind you, this is creepy as fuck, so my husband entertained her, I called the police, and they took her for trespassing private property. My brother is thankful, but my husband and the kid's parents are sure I'm overreacting and that I should drop the charges because she's trying to do something nice. And as I said, we have a tiny little update on this one. But I got to say, reading it myself, it felt like very stalkerish behavior to do that sort of thing. Break into someone's home and set up pictures of yourself and him together in balloons. It sounds almost like horror movie-esque. And brother is clearly going through a lot of stuff, and I'm sure OP is as well, but in their own way. And we always say that people grieve in different ways and they don't want therapy just yet, so they need to deal with it at their own pace. And what this girlfriend is doing, you know, beyond the creepiness, is just not right and not helpful to brother at all in this situation. Is at no way is it going to be the arsehole. The fact that she's willing to break into your house to do this sort of stuff is really concerning to me. But let's check out some comments before we move on. We'll start with Jenna, who says, "Not the arsehole. If the gender roles were reversed, I'm sure nobody would be okay with this happening. She's refusing to respect the firm boundary that has been set. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes." OP replied to that saying, "Yeah, my bro isn't a small guy, and he came down terrified. I don't want him to feel unsafe in his own home. They think that since I'm a girl, I should see his ex's point of view." Flaky Tip says, "Not the arsehole. Let's do the gender reverse test. A 16-year-old boy is broken up with his girlfriend and sends her a bunch of letters, gifts, and eventually breaks into her house and bedroom. She turned into a stalker, OP, and you need to protect your brother from her." Sparkling Deadly says, "She broke into your home, not the arsehole." Unlucky Fox says, "Not the arsehole. What your brother's ex was doing is not innocent behavior. It's quite literally stalking and harassing him. This could devolve into something more dangerous, and it's good that you did something about it." Just the Bean says, "Not the arsehole. That's stalking. It doesn't matter how sweet her intentions are. That's what she's doing. Her youth and femininity do not give her a pass. She was told to stop, she did not. Instead, she displayed a clear pattern of escalating behavior. There's no reason to believe she won't decide to take it further if she gets away with this. This is a life lesson she needs to learn. It doesn't matter how harsh anyone else thinks it is. You don't break into someone else's home and play victim when there are consequences. And one more from Artorian Scribe, who says, not the arsehole. This is traumatizing as hell for your brother. He's always going to be worried about the next girlfriend doing something as creepy as this. He needs therapy to discuss this and realize this is not normal. Also, maybe consider a restraining order. What she's doing is harassment, and if it was gender reversed, your husband wouldn't think you were overreacting one little bit. She also needs to get her shit together. She's a minor. This will be wiped clean when she turns 18. This is the wake-up call she needs to back the fuck up. And the small little update says, I just talked to my brother and we agreed on getting a restraining order no matter what. He'll be switching rooms since he told me he can't sleep there anymore. Our guest room is a bit smaller, but he says he doesn't care. That's it for now. He hasn't said anything about therapy or dropping the charges. Now, what do you guys make of this one? What would you do if you found yourself in that situation? Would you continue to press the charges or not? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to the next story. And our next story comes from Cool P 2021. Am I the arsehole for not wanting to give my brother my inheritance? I want to start by saying this: I'm not my parents' favourite child. As much as this might sound absurd or even biased, which might be, there's no other way to describe my family. I'm the youngest sibling, third child, and I have a sister, oldest, and a brother. My sister and my brother are just a bit older than me at 23 and 21, while I just turned 18 last August. Throughout my life, I've always known my parents didn't particularly like me. They would treat my siblings a lot better, give them better clothes and gifts, and even gave them allowances. I was never treated badly, but I was never given anything like that. To be honest, I don't even remember the last time my parents gave me a gift for my birthday, or even congratulated me for that matter. This was the reason I started working as a part-timer since I turned 13. Washing cars, cutting grass, washing driveways, etc. That's how I managed to have some money, should I need or buy things I wanted. For example, while my parents gave my siblings laptops once they got into high school, I needed to buy my own. Which is fine, they don't need to give me anything, I'm not entitled to it. It just made me very self-conscious about myself. Now to the main point. My grandfather was a very kind man, and when he passed away, he left in his will. I'm not really sure about how this works, as I know almost nothing about the law. Inheritances for his grandchildren, my siblings and myself, to finance our studies, college, housing, etc. As I understand, this money would only be possible to be used after the person is 18. Now my sister went to college and is almost graduating. My brother, however, has changed his course 4 times in the last 2 years, and every time he did that, there was a large cost associated with it, especially since he aimed for expensive colleges. Now he has spent a large part of his inheritance and probably won't be able to finance any course to the end. This is my main problem. My parents came to me and asked me to give my brother my part of the inheritance, as he has had that problem. Thing is, I'll be taking the college entrance exams in November and December, and by giving him this inheritance, I won't be able to do that, as I won't be able to afford college at all. I told them it was absurd, and it wasn't my fault that he wasted his part of the inheritance. Their answer was, he's your brother and he needs help. He'll help you pay your studies once he graduates. That means I would need to postpone college for at least 4 to 5 years. I obviously don't want to do that, and told my parents that it was my decision. As you would assume, they didn't take it lightly. They've taken to call me an ungrateful child and an arsehole for not thinking about family. I'm constantly being shunned in my house, to the point that's making me feel like a trash of a person. Reddit, please. Am I such a monster? Whew, this one got to me, feeling that someone's in that position right now, sitting there worrying about this sort of stuff, and it breaks my heart that they're having to think that they're a monster in this situation when they're absolutely not in the slightest. They've grown up with absolute arseholes for parents, and this is your chance to do something for yourself and escape that toxic household, in my opinion. Your grandfather gave that money to you, for your education. Your brother used his for whatever reasons and he's wasted his, but this is your chance. Just do not let them pressure you into this. He's your brother stuff. No, they can finance it. They financed them. They financed their 2 other children all this time. They can do it a bit more. You use that money just for yourself. Once again, do not give that money over and be stuck in the same situation you found yourself in for years. You're definitely not a monster in this one. 100% not the arsehole to me. But Sleepy Feline says, not the arsehole, I strongly suspect that your brother wouldn't help you if, not when, he eventually graduates. Yeah, that too. The money was left to you for your education. You shouldn't feel any guilt for using it for its intended purpose. Evocative Enigma says, not the arsehole, and tell your parents if they do touch your part of the inheritance that is meant for your schooling, you will take legal action against both of them and your brother. I know that sounds harsh, but if they are treating you like crap and now want to screw you out your money, fight back. TMMK0 says, not the arsehole, you have to think of your future too. The inheritance is yours, and you are applying it towards the intended purpose of education. Skeptica says, oh hell no, not the arsehole. Keep your inheritance and get away from these horrible parents. They don't care about your future, unfortunately, so don't let them ruin it. You're not a trash person or a monster. You sound like a lovely person who has had the misfortune of growing up with narcissistic parents who favored their other children over you. Enjoy college and your life away from these toxic people. Raff says, empathetic, not the arsehole. Your grandpa gave you that money for your future. It's yours for you. Take it, keep it, and use it, and get out of there and flourish. Perhaps you can help out bro when you graduate. Sounds like you're much likely to get it done than he is anyway. If you spare money, and if you feel like it. Sir Pipple says, not the arsehole. If it's enough, use the money to get the fuck out. Your brother made the choice to keep changing and put himself in that position. Like buggery will he pay for your college. Tell your parents to get a loan and he can pay them back. And one more from Bored to Death 2 who says, not the arsehole, you are not a monster. Even if your stated favoritism was not present, this is your money from your grandparents. You spend it how you wish. Frankly, you'll be the favorite before too long. You seem to have your shit together more than your older brother. Now, what do you guys make of this story? What would you do in this situation? I think OP just needs to get out of there as soon as possible. And again, I know it's so easy to say, but I can't see any other way around it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this story and all of today's stories if you choose to share them. A huge thank you for spending 20 to 30 minutes with me today. Getting involved with the channel, it means the absolute world, and I can never express that enough. Honestly, it's absolutely mind-blowing. If you'd like to support the channel further, but never any pressure to do so, you can click that join button down below for YouTube, or click the link in the description and go onto Patreon and join up there. Thank you so much for your love, time, and support, and I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.
Boxes are defeating, purpose always fleeting. I pose questions to the ceiling like an answer gonna come. Truth is too revealing, life is easier concealing. All emotions till they start on your heart going numb. I shouldn't be in drive more, I just wanna feel alive more. I feel hurt all the time, but I can't see straight. I've been